Hi everyone, this is Annalisa with Inside Real Estate, and today we're going to talk all about recruiting tools within kvCORE. Now, if you could let me know that you can see my shared screen and hear me in the chat box via GoToWebinar, that would be super helpful. That way I'll know we're coming through and can get started.
Looks good.
Awesome, thank you so much. So what I have in front of me is a method to go over the different types of recruiting tools within kvCORE or what you can leverage within the kvCORE tools for recruiting. So there's a few places we're going to look at today. And first I'm going to link you all to the doc of which I am viewing, and I'm going to chat this out to everyone here. So hopefully that'll come through. It just went to the whole audience. And this is recorded. It will be sent out to everyone, uploaded on YouTube and the discussion groups. So let's get into this. So who can set up recruiting content within kvCORE? So there are different levels of access within kvCORE, as you well may know. So when we're looking at kvCORE, and I'm looking at the top right-hand side of my dashboard on my test account, I can see I'm a company admin up here. So it says company admin right above my email address. So that means I have the top-down permission. So as a company admin, I can create recruit campaigns that then can be shared out amongst everyone. And maybe you've got teams or different offices or agents even doing recruiting for themselves. Now, as we look at this, agents can also come in, or team leads or office administrators can also come in and create recruiting content. You all have access to create this information if you're doing recruiting for yourself or you're looking at building a team, what have you. Now, I'll get into the how in a moment, but there's also other things you should be considering as well as you're creating this recruiting content. What is your ultimate goal? What type of person are you wanting to attract, or what type of people are you wanting to attract into your team? And how are you going to acknowledge them once they've hit your dashboard? So a few things of note is to look at using the bridge page, of which Ryan has demonstrated a few times. You can actually click on this and view his bridge page. And if you scroll to the very bottom here, well, I thought I dropped it in here, but I will drop the video on the recent webinar we had on bridge pages. So I'll get that in there.
Number 2, you got it there. It's the second one.
Do I? Oh, there it is, boosting conversations with bridge pages. Thank you, Eye in the Sky. so it's in there. Also, because LinkedIn is like a business networking site, it's really important that you're reaching out with them to network, because maybe they're like, hey, you know what, I'm not looking to leave my team right now, or I'm not looking to make that move, but they might in the future. So this gives you the ability to also have another person within your realm of potential referrals, networking, and so forth. And then third, what we can affect change on within kvCORE is the SMART campaign. So we're going to go about looking at the different elements within kvCORE, and we're going to start out with your web and IDX. Where does this information land when we create recruiting content? So I'm going to show you where you create the recruiting content within your web and IDX settings, and what that triggers to land on your domain on the front side. Excuse me. So let's pop into a kvCORE dashboard. And we're going to go into Web and IDX. You're going to go down this left-hand side of your dashboard and click Web and IDX. And then when you see your photo load, you can actually click Website Settings here right below it. So it'll have your profile information and then Edit Website Settings. And when this opens up, this is like your doorway into Web and IDX. Now, the section of which we're going to look at first is this general section. So you can click any of these as a shortcut down to different sections within Web and IDX, but we're looking at general, so we really don't need to go far. The information we're looking for is called recruit text. So we're going to scroll it on down until we see this section that says recruit text. And I'm going to make my screen a little larger here, so it's going to be coming at you. Okay, so you can see here it says recruit text, and you can actually drop in HTML or just write in information here if you like. So you can either have it, plain text, or you can drop code in there to make some images show up and or video. So when you add content into this section and save it, the system's actually going to manifest a We're Hiring tab option on your website, on your domain. So if I click on my email address at the top right and then open up my domain, another tab will open up next to my CRM for kvCORE. And I can actually, oh, now I need to make the screen a little smaller. When I hover over your agent, We're Hiring has manifested. So only if you have added content into the general recruit text and saved it, only when you've added things in here and saved it, will the We're Hiring tab show up. If you don't have anything in that section, this tab option will not be there. Now, what's on this We're Hiring tab? So there's different sections within this, some of which are static and permanent and cannot be edited. And then there's also a section of which you can add information. Now, this top section of we currently have a surplus of buyer and seller leads, etc., you'll get, etc., and this video are all built in and lead people down the pathway of contacting you. Right below this, there is also set up a confidential meeting, and this email will be sent to the admin of the person who set this up. Now, last but not least, we have the custom recruit text section, okay? This is where you can add anything you want in regards to recruiting. So if I go back to my platform, you can see here where it says this is a custom text, or this is the custom recruit text section. You can see it's within HTML brackets here, and it matches up with this header. So you can kind of see how you can adjust information and add in text. And then the highlighted section here, you can enter just about anything you want here, is matching up with this secondary bracket section. Now, let's say I wanted to add a video. Maybe I created a fun video or something to represent my company to interest people. You can actually go to your YouTube or Vimeo or wherever you have your video hosted. And I thought this was hilarious, the screen grab. We'd all love a pre-approved buyer machine, right? But basically, you can click share, and then you'll see this little bracket embed icon. And when you click on that, it's going to pull the height and width of this embedded video. So we're going to copy all of this information, and we're going to take it with us back over to our recruit text, and we're just going to paste it on in, and we can click save, and the system is going to drop the video in, and you can see here it says website settings saved here at the bottom right. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my page and refresh it, and we should be able to see the video there. Sometimes it takes a minute or two. Yep, okay, so now it's dropped the video in. So now, you can drop in your recruiting information, you can drop in a video, or, let's say you even wanted to have a photo in there. You wanted to put a photo in maybe at the top. So we can go in, make a space for our photo, and let's say we are looking to use this photo. Work with us. So we can see here this link up in my browser, and it might be a little more difficult to see just because it's black on the background, but I can't enlarge this. But it ends in JPEG. I can actually take this link, and of course, always use photos of which you have permission to use or you own, but I'm just using this as an example. Take your link and copy it, and then you can actually drop an HTML image into an embed field. And this will walk you through it. And I did include these instructions within the document. But basically, what you'll do is you're going to grab your image link, which in this case is right here, okay? And we're going to drop it in between these quotation marks right here. See, there's a quotation mark here and there. So if we remove this Walt Disney picture, and paste in our link. Make sure we got the end on there. This should give us an image link now when we paste it into our HTML. So drum roll, please.
Bonus, I didn't know I was coming to an HTML course today.
I mean, you know, I've learned things. so then you can click save, and of course it'll say website settings saved again. Now if I go back and refresh, we should see all of it, or it might take a second. Yep. So obviously I'm going to need to do something to work with the image size because it came through a little funky. However, you can get the idea that you can add in images, you can add in HTML, and you can, you know, change your font, your highlight, add in a video, etc. as you're building in your recruit content.
So Annalisa, it leaves the video there that I think it has my voice in it. That stays up top.
Yes. So everything that is north of set up your meeting is static and cannot be edited or removed.
I think we should be able to push that down. But the good news is we can create our own pages too, right? If we want.
Right. So this is just one of the elements within that we can utilize for recruiting. Now, the neat thing about this is when you're looking at your recruiting, like, you know, your agent we're hiring, this is your unique recruit link up here in the browser. So myself, my entity name is Annalisa Dahlin, ts.kvCOREsuccess.com, and then it ends with /recruit.php. So this is a unique recruiting element of which now we can use within a landing page generator if we wanted to. Or we could just grab the regular link and do targeting. Well, I guess we have to be a little different on targeting now with Facebook, but you understand what I'm saying. You know, we can look at the opportunities and utilize this link because it's just built into your site and will always redirect people right back to you. So if you wanted to build a landing page around this, you would just take your link, copy it. Then you could go over to your lead engine and create a landing page. Now, I wanted to bring up the landing page, and that was a great segue, Ryan, because it's super important you pay attention to a big detail here, depending on the level of access you may have within kvCORE. So myself, I'm a company admin. So when I click this, I see everybody, right? I don't want to accidentally click like Bernard or Brandon or Brett or Christina when I meant to click on myself or my team, right? So if you're doing this for an office entity, for a company admin, for a team admin, make sure you choose the correct web address of which you want to send people for more information. So if I know I'm the one doing the recruiting and I want it all to come to me and only me, I'll choose a landing page that leads people to my site. Or maybe in this case, I also have Kelly helping me with recruiting. I can have it sent to her. So you can choose where you want these recruiting leads to land for work. So like you can choose yourself and then, you know, start building. And there's separate trainings on how to create landing page lead gen. Basically what will happen if you're not familiar is within a lead gen landing page, it's all about getting the person to opt in for more info. So within a matter of about 10 seconds, when that contact drops in their email and or cell and clicks this button, you can direct them to your We're Hiring tab within this URL after login at the top. You can hashtag them for tracking like recruiting. So you can just call it recruit. And then you can just, you know, change your submit button text to find, you know, why are we the best? We're the best, find out why. You know, whatever you want to put in here. But basically, once they hit that orange button, they're going to be redirected to your We're Hiring page. And then they're going to land on your desktop and your app as a new lead, as an agent recruit. And then they can also choose to email you here. So you're setting up a lot of different avenues of contact. Any questions so far? I haven't seen any come through.
Yeah, there aren't. That's interesting. You know, I find that interesting. But basically, if I can kind of rephrase that. So what you can do here is you can build a landing page that offers the content that's on your recruit.php page.
Yes, and that was very much more succinct than I did it. So thank you. So basically you can enact this page by making sure you've dropped information into the recruiting text, and that creates the we're hiring, which in effect creates this custom link, which you can then drop into your lead gen landing page.
So a good idea might be to put all the content about your company on that second page, and then were you going to go into different headlines for the landing page or offers?
I hadn't got that far because there's other recruit elements I want to make sure we get to within kvCORE. So I didn't build out what do we do with it now. I've just like, here's where we're at, but that might be something we can continue on soon.
Yeah. Cool.
So we've talked a bit about the We're Hiring tab, and then the messaging on the We're Hiring, of which people can, get a hold of you, and how you can affect everything on the south end of this page. So everything from set up your meeting up is static, everything below is where you can enter in additional content. All right, so let's talk a bit about custom pages and resource tabs. So within the website that you have, all of you have access to create different tabs or resources. And these are called resource tabs on the front side. So like I have all of these different tabs set up for information, like local area guides, popular neighborhoods, and then other types of information. You can also build in recruiting content here if you wanted to. Now, to access this information, we're going to go back to the Web and IDX here. So down this left-hand side of the dashboard, click Web and IDX. And we're going to look for this website content here, or you can click up for site content here at the top. Either way, it will get you to the same place. So what we're going to look at here are the custom pages, which on the back end, they're called custom pages via kvCORE dashboard. And on the front side, they're called resource tabs. So I'm going to click View and Edit on these. And you can see I have all of these different resource tabs created. And when we're looking at these, the blue one, when it's toggled to the right and it's blue, that means I have it published. If it's highlighted, if it's to the left and gray, that means I have it. It's just not readily available for someone to look at right now. So if I needed to add in a listing specialist, because I've already created that, I can take a look at it by editing it. And you can add in different job descriptions. You can drop in more HTML like videos and photos if you want, just like we did on the recruiting page. And then when you opt to have this on, excuse me, you can just toggle it over. And if I refresh my page here, it should show as an option on my drop down now. Excuse me. So you can see here it says listing specialist needed now. So you can actually build in these different types of tabs to speak to specific jobs as well. And this also creates a unique URL for a particular position. So you can see it has my name, my brokerage name, and then resources, listing specialist needed. So this is also a unique link of which you can utilize within a landing page or a call to action for recruiting. This is also something you could drop into a landing page generator if you'd like, or even a custom text code if you're going to be putting things on print, or dropping them maybe into Craigslist, like, hey, you're curious about real estate, a career, text this number or text this code to this number. So you've got different options to create content, and there's a separate training on creating custom pages. I just wanted to make sure you're aware it's available for you to use, and I'll make sure to drop that information into the doc there. Now, next we're going to get in with lead routing and smart campaigns. So, okay, we thought about the recruiting process. Now we have to figure out, okay, what do we do with it once it gets here, and what's going to trigger, who's going to pick up with this, etc. So you can actually create a lead routing rule as an admin within an office, company, or team to say, I want this to land here. Now, if you're an agent, you're going to be creating it and it's going to come to you only, so you don't need to worry about routing. So if you create it on your own and it's for your own agent needs to build a team, it's going to go right to you because your only option is going to be the agent website. But with the company and the office and the team admins, they need to create a lead routing rule. So when we go over to the dashboard here, we're going to click on our email at the top right and scroll it on down to lead routing. It's that last option on that drop down from the top right. And you can see here, I created one just so you can get an idea of what it might look like. And I'll show you also how to create one. So I created a rule called recruiting that whenever a contact comes in via our office website, it's going to round robin, but it's only going to one person in that round robin. So I'm going to click edit here to show you how it's set up. So I created a rule name called recruiting. So whenever something lands between the office website and has this hashtag attached, it's going to distribute to me only. And I can see here it's going to hit me with email, text, and phone to make sure I'm aware I have a recruit coming to me. So if I wanted to set this up myself, I could go to, and here's another important view. When you have different access levels of viewpoints within kvCORE, you'll have this little drop down on the lead routing. You can also say, well, how do I want to view my lead routing right now? By agent, by office admin, how are we looking at this? So let's say I wanted to create a new rule. All I need to do is click this green new rule. And this is where I could say, maybe I'm doing West Side recruiting. And whenever it lands in directly to my site, because that's maybe I'm looking to build a team myself, I want it to come directly to me. So whenever they register via this site with the hashtag of West Side Recruit, and what you see here is I'm actually creating a hashtag while I'm typing. I could go ahead and put in recruit here and choose a tag that's already in existence, or I can just create my own right here. And when I click this green, it actually creates the tag. And I can say whenever they land, I want it to be distributed to me via email only. And you kind of see here to the right how it's changing the distribution as I click these buttons. Maybe I want to add phone, so now it's added the phone in. Maybe I wanted to hit me on like the trifecta, right? So I can set that up. Or if I have a couple of people handling this, I could say, well, no, I think we want to send it to another agent if nobody accepts this call, but I don't have one because I don't have a team yet. But that could be an option for you within an office or a company. So I can actually have this shoot over to me every time there is someone who responds to the West Side Recruit hashtag, and I just click add rule. And now I've got West Side Recruiting coming directly from my website, goes right to me every time. Any questions so far? I don't think there have been any typed in.
We're looking good.
Okay, so now that we've talked about routing, we can talk to smart campaigns. So within smart campaigns, you want to think about how do you want to respond to that person and what do you want to build in for yourself to remind you of what you need to follow up with that particular recruit. So it keeps you on point and so you know what's going out to them and what your part of the process is and what you're responsible for doing.
Can I bring up an important point right
yes.
before you get into this?
Yeah.
You know, every smart campaign is an interaction, and every email, maybe not text, but every email that goes out, whether it's for a recruit specifically or for a buyer or seller, is an opportunity to engage on recruiting. So what I'm talking about specifically is a PS that says, hey, you know, you do a PPS, hey, we're hiring, looking for, you know,
oh, true, yeah,
new buyers agents. So, you know, there's ways to inject this recruiting stuff into all your existing flows.
and maybe if you've got somebody who's going like, you know, whole hog looking at properties, like a couple hundred properties, you'd be like, you know what, you have a real interest in properties. Have you ever thought about getting into real estate?
For sure.
I don't know. It could be an opening. So,
yep.
So let's talk a bit about those smart campaigns and how you can go about setting it up. So within Smart Campaigns, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Marketing Autopilot. And we're going to jump into Smart Campaigns here. Now, the Smart Campaign itself, like when you open up the Smart Campaign library and you see these here, which are all within my library, or you've got your kvCORE library that you can pull from, all of these Smart Campaigns are made up of elements, and these elements within the Smart Campaigns are called templates. So each template is going to be either an action that you're going to take, or maybe you're going to set up an action for the system to take, or you're going to set up an action for follow-up to go out to the correspondence for the lead. So what you can do is create different templates that speak to different elements within that Smart Campaign. So I created an example here. I'm just going to put in recruit. And you can see here that just by putting in REC, it brought up everything REC. So I'm just going to put in the R for recruiting. So you can see what I did is I found that kvCORE had a recruiting subject, and I cloned it. I made a copy of it. So I can click clone, and I can pop in here and rename it. And then I can determine the scope of which I want to share this. Is it for the company so anyone can grab it and use it? Do I want to limit it to within an office or just myself? When I can do this because I'm an office or a company admin, I have that top-down sharing ability. And then I can, call it recruiting. I think I might just call it Westside Recruiting just so I can remember, all of those elements together. Now, what we're looking at here is the advanced email editor, right? So when we look at this, we know it's the advanced because it says basic editor here on the top right. If this was the basic editor we were looking at, it would give you the option to switch over to the advanced. So this is a canned template that we have created for you for your use. Now, what you can do here is you can actually say, please join our team. You can replace the photos and so forth. But, if you've got a video you want to drop in, just drag this over wherever you want it to land. And then you can add the video URL. So if we go back to YouTube and we copy the link, so we've got the add a video URL, which is right here. I can actually drop that in. And when I click enter, it'll actually pop the video in for you. And it'll be a playable video within the advanced email that you're sending out. Now, within this, it's important to notate, you see this little round button with the little triangle for play. You can actually adjust how these look. So you're going to want to take care to look at this to make sure it's standing out from the video. So do you want it round solid? Do you want it rectangle, outline? How does it look best? You can even change up the icon color and make it bigger. So you can look at your visuals and make sure that video is standing out so people get that it's a video they can play right now. And of course, then you can clone the template. And now you have it available for you to use. So I've cloned it. Now I have to look for it, right? So if I want to check it again. So now I've got my Annalisa Westside Recruiting is right here. I can edit this anytime. I can also preview it. And one thing to note, when you're looking at these codes here, these are all merge tags. So when you're looking at the advanced email editor and you see these merge tags and you're like, well, wait a minute, nothing pulled in here. Nothing will pull until the system triggers the email. Because when it triggers, we pull in all of this tag information from your information, your broker's information, your own photo. All of these elements are being pulled in immediately by kvCORE and dropping them in. So when you have these in here, they will be filled with information when it launches. Okay. Let's see here. Yes, I don't want to change anything there. So now we've created this element, this template that goes within our Smart Campaign. We can now create the Smart Campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my library. And I'm just going to click Add Campaign. And again, I can determine what scope is it. Is it for the whole company, office, just for me, whatever you'd like to set it up as depending on your goal there. And you can say whenever the lead is new from, whichever source you chose from the office website, and it has the trigger of a hashtag called, let's see here, West Side Recruit, I want it to land on my dashboard. And it's going to trigger this campaign. And then you can say, is it for buyer, seller, agent, renter, vendor, so you can choose who it's for. And then you can name it. And you can say, do I want it to always run? Do I want to lock it? And if you lock it, that means no one else can edit this particular campaign. Or if you say no, anyone can edit it and use it as well. And then you just click yes, and then it'll say, okay, we've created this for the scope of one person only for agents, and it starts when this tag is added, and it's for agent recruiting, and here's the name and description, and then you just simply add the campaign. So now it's going to pop it into this section, and I can give it an old search here. And it might take a moment for that to manifest. Sometimes it takes a second, but it'll land right there. And then we can continue on and build in the elements within the drip campaign. There we go. So here's our West Side Recruiting. And we can see the description, when does it start, who's it for, and we can see it has 0 touches. So now we need to build in those templates so we can choose the campaign we created. And we can add the action. So we can say, here's an email that we want to add in. And I should be able to find the one that I saved. Yeah, Annalisa West Side Recruiting. So there's the advanced email template that I had saved. And then I can say, well, gosh, do I want this to run like it's from the system, from me? Who do I want it to go to, the contact? Do I want it to run immediately when they get here? Or do I want to set a time and a date? And, what do I want to name this one first? So I might call this WS1 Initial Recruit. So you can call it, West Side 1. It's the initial recruiting video. And then you can click add, or maybe I want it to go immediately when that lead hits. I can click add right here. And it's saying I have an error. Oh, I didn't choose contact. There we go. So now we have the Smart Campaign named, and we have our first element in place for contact. Now you can also go into your actions and add in, reminders to yourself, like a task. I need to, call this person at this time a day. And if you have a template of which you want to use, you can grab it and find it here. If not, you can just name it. Or you want to look at the template that you've chosen. You can look at this information, or you can build in your own content. But you get the idea. You can actually drop this information in. So you can say, I want this to run 2 days later, or a day later to myself. So you can task yourself or whoever is handling these different types of actions as well. Any questions or anything to add? Let's see, I'm going to open up the questions here.
Yeah, it looks good.
Oh, Rebecca's saying, hey, I've tried to add photos to the email template, and it says the folder is read only. So here's how it works. When we're looking at the scheduled mass email or the advanced, I should just call it just the advanced editor. So if we go to create any type of email and we go into send email, advanced editor, what you'll want to do, and the way this is designed right now, is when you bring in an image, so let's say we want to bring an image in, so we're just going to drag it up into that box there. What you have to do is drag the file in here initially. So it's going to add it to a file within the system. So if we open up, like if I grab this recruit photo right here. Let me see if I can make this a little easier for me to pull over. Okay, so let's say I want to grab this recruit file and pull it over here. I don't know if that's going to happen because I'm having issues with my own coordination, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so we can actually drag the photo over and drop it in. And that's how you add a photo initially to your advanced email editor. And then if you want to preview this, you can actually click preview here. And you can also click send test, and it'll send a test to the email of which is on the top right-hand side of your dashboard. So I just got an email to my Gmail account that has a copy of what would be sent to our clientele, or to the recruiter in this case. All right, let me go ahead and get back in and enlarge this. Okay, so let me go back over here. So really, you have to take into consideration what scope do you want to have this set up? Are you an office scope? Are you an owner scope, team, individual agent? How do you want to acknowledge people responded to your call to action? Make sure you have your We're Hiring tab and menu filled out if you're going to be utilizing it. You can also create that custom page, aka resource tab. So you've got your custom page under your resource tabs, and then you've got your agent, We're Hiring, which is the specialized recruit.php link up here in the browser. And then you create your lead routing rule to determine where they're going to land and who's going to be handling those. And you create that smart campaign for follow-up, which can include tasks for yourself or whoever's working the leads, as well as outbound information and communication going to that recruit. All right, well, that wraps up the majority of the actually wraps up everything that we spoke to today on recruiting tools within kvCORE. I'm going to go ahead and scan through those questions again. Okay, and Mike's saying, hey, I see people all the time asking, why are campaigns shareable? Are they shareable? Why can't I share them? So what happens is when, I should say, how it is set up within kvCORE is we have these smart campaigns, and when smart campaigns are created, they can be shared from the top-down entity. So myself, I am a company admin, so I can create a smart campaign with the scope to share amongst a certain group of people, all of my folks, or just one person. So it depends on who created the smart campaign. So if I was to click, add a campaign as an admin, I would look at my campaign scope initially and be like, okay, well, am I creating a campaign just for me, the agent, or just myself? Am I creating it specifically for this office? Am I creating it specifically for this campaign for everyone to access? So that would be the determining factors on why you may or may not be able to access some of those campaigns. And Lisa's saying, hey, is there a link? Yes, I'll go ahead and drop the link to the overview, and I'll also be adding this to our discussion groups, and we'll be emailing it out, as well as dropping onto YouTube. So let me go ahead and grab that and send out that link again one more time. And Mike's saying, hey, in kvCORE, it doesn't look like there's a default recruiting campaign. Why? I believe there is. That's where I got that initial poll. It's not a full-blown campaign, but there's there's elements of the campaigns within the templates. So like if we go to template, because that's how I copied the initial one. So if we go to template and we just type in RECR, you're going to see it has this regular recruiting one. And we can tell this is a regular canned one because it says clone. These are two that I have taken and created my own elements within. So there are elements in here, but you would need to create a recruiting campaign. And I believe we've actually put the bug in the ear of a couple folks on that. So we'll loop back and check in on that as well.
One of my favorite comments on that, on the actual content for recruiting follow-up, is that you guys are all welcome to use our videos and webinars.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
they do position kvCORE, and there's also a lot of lead gen stuff that will add value to other agents and get them thinking about. It's a nice transition into positioning kvCORE as a benefit to joining your company. I should say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's insightrealestate.com/webinars, where we keep all of our replays, including this one.
Yes, sir. And let's see here. Can you see in preview? So Terry Licker was saying, hey, can you see in preview the content before you send it and make sure you got it right? Yes. So when you're looking at these elements, like if we were to look at the send email advanced editor, right up here on the top left, you can preview whatever you've put in. And then you can also send yourself a test. So when you click send test, the system's going to send a copy of this email, of this template, to the email of which you have on the top right of your sign-in for kvCORE. So that's where you can see the final and make sure it's reading correctly for yourself. Okay. And then someone's saying, hey, how do I find these templates? So when you're looking at the send an email here and you're looking at these templates, so we click into template select, these little pencil dudes are like your little basic editor. So pencil basic editor. See how the icons match up here? If you scroll through and you start seeing them with like that tile, like my Westside Recruiting, when you see this little tile, that indicates an advanced email editor template. So like if you knew the name of it and you were like, oh, what was that called? Maybe you're like, okay, I think it was called event or something. You know, you can just type in EV, and event will come up. Or if I was like, oh yeah, my Annalisa template, you know, I can just put in my name and grab it. And then it'll pop it right in. Okay, let me just scan through these again. Got the preview and the other answers look like they're taken care of. And Thomas is saying, hey, can you copy a default template to a new one and change it? Yep, Thomas. So like what I did on mine is I pulled up, you know, Annalisa Westside Recruiting. Well, maybe I want to, recreate it, or I want to use it again or start from scratch. I can absolutely make a copy of this and go forward. All right, well, that looks like all of the questions. Oh, Thomas had one more. Hey, do the photo images have to, what are the photo images supported? I've used JPEG and I think it's, what is it, MPG?
Yeah, PNG, JPEG. GIF will probably work.
I'll try to get a list. I'll try to get the deets on that, just so we have it written down.
Sometimes you'll have issues with like an SVG or something like that. When you do, you can just, my favorite hack there is just screenshot what it is and turn it into a PNG.
Yeah. So like if you come across what Ryan's talking to, and maybe we're looking at this picture and we're like, oh darn, it's one that's not going to work for us. If you use see this little feather here, hopefully you can see the left-hand side. This little feather is Lightshot. And Lightshot allows you to take screen images and save them as JPEGs very, very easily. So when you have it installed and it's free, which is cool, you just tap print screen, you highlight the area you want to save, click your little save doodad here, name it, and it's going to call it recruit JPEG. And now you've got it saved in the format you want. So I believe I put the information for Lightshot on here, but if I didn't, I'll get it added. Yeah, I'll get it added. So with that said, That wraps up what I had to share today on recruiting tools within kvCORE. I hope this was helpful. Anything to add, Ryan?
Oh, this was fun. What are we doing next week? We'll be back next week with something fun. If you guys have any suggestions or content that you'd like to see on these webinars, feel free to either let us know while we're on, or you can always go into the group and let us know what you'd like to learn about.
Yeah, it's really helpful if you let us know what you're seeking, or if you're like stymied on something, or you're trying to kick around an idea, let us know and we'll try to figure out how we can, create elements around what you're seeking and help you be successful. So never hesitate to ask. We're happy to help you.
Oh,
Okay?
and one last comment on the recruiting. It's timely. I mean, we're going into the last quarter here,
Yeah.
September, and a lot of people make these decisions, I think like after Thanksgiving going into January, right? When you switch offices. So if you
Yes.
are recruiting, now's a good time to start putting in, schedule an appointment with yourself, maybe spend an hour a week building out a recruiting funnel. It might pay off big.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there was another question. Steve saying, hey, you said we could add videos. Which ones do you recommend? So, Steve, I really don't have like a go-to video that I would use all the time. I would think about my target. So if I was looking at, maybe I'm in an area where I know millennials are moving, like a lot of millennials are taking their families and kind of picking up and going west right now. That seems to be the trend overall. So if I know I've got a bunch of millennials traveling here, maybe I want to target that age group. Or maybe I want to target people who are looking to renew their licenses, but they're not happy with where they currently are. So you can kind of create videos that speak to these targets that might relate to them. So I would say, think about your target, think about what you may respond to if you were a part of that target, or talk with some friends and see if it resonates with them, and go from there. What do you think about that, Ryan?
I like
He,
it.
lo-
Sorry, I was
he
muted.
loves it. That's what I'm going to say. He loves it.
I love it. I got to bounce off. Thank you, everybody.
That's okay. He's got to go. But basically, that's everything on the recruiting side. I'm so happy you guys showed up today. I'll get this formatted and posted, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.